From the WKYT studios in Lexington, this is Kentucky Newsmakers with Bill Bryant.
Good morning and Happy New Year from WKYT News. Hope you're having a nice weekend. I'm Bill Bryant. A little later, Lexington Vice Mayor Linda Gordon says goodbye for now and retires from City Hall after 16 years on the council. Gordon will talk about big decisions that she's been a part of and what she thinks is ahead for Lexington. That's a little later. But first on Kentucky Newsmakers, Madison County is one of the fastest growing areas of Kentucky and is now under new leadership. In November, voters decided to turn out 21-year incumbent Democratic Judge Executive Kent Clark in favor of Republican Reagan Taylor, who took the oath of office this past week. Taylor said the race was clean, and he says he's had cooperation in the transition to his administration. Madison County's population is nearing 100,000 and includes the growing cities of Richmond and Berea, as well as EKU, Berea College, and the Bluegrass Army Depot. Taylor's made his career as a home builder, contractor, and realtor, and used the theme Building a Better Madison County in his campaign. We welcome Madison County's brand new Judge Executive, Reagan Taylor. Thanks for coming. Getting used to that title yet?
Not quite. Not quite. It's definitely a big change.
You have to answer to judge.
That's right.
From now on.
I've told a lot of people have already started asking me or calling me judge, and I told them, I said, Reagan's fine. I'm just a common man just like anybody else.
Well, it's an unusual title, too, in that there are no judicial...
That's right.
Essentially, you know, for anybody out there that may not know, a county judge executive is essentially a county mayor.
That's right.
In Kentucky.
And I had to explain that a lot.
I'm sure you did, because it's a strange holdover to still call it judge. What prompted you to run for the top executive office in Madison County that has been held, as we said, by an incumbent for more than a generation? By Kent Clark.
In my business, I dealt with the government, different entities, different departments quite a bit, and just saw some things that could be more serving to the community. As a taxpayer myself and as a citizen of a county that I love, I felt like that I could really make some changes and make a difference in the lives of people in our county. I prayed about it for quite some time. I really felt called to do it, I was raised to, if you feel called to do something, you go after your calling, and so we did.
And you feel like, as you have told me, that it was a clean race. You just simply put your message out, and the response was pretty much the same.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, we set out with our message, and we 100% believed in our message, and we had some people try to encourage us to you know, get some dirt and that kind of thing, but I'm not that guy. You know, I want the best for everybody. I want the best for Madison County, and our goals and that we preached about on our campaign trail, we 100% believed in them. And you know, if the community believed in them, it was great. If they didn't, that was fine too. But on November 4th, they believed well in our message.
How has the transition been going since then, from that long-term administration now to your new administration?
It's going great. We've met several times. I respect Judge Clark very well. I even said on the campaign trail, a man that serves this community for 21 years, I think you tip your hat to the man that has done that. And you know, I want to be the next leader that takes us to the next level. I appreciate what Kent, probably should call him Judge Clark, has done for our community, but I'm ready to step it up and take it to the next level.
Are you prepared to name your administration, your deputy judge executive, and so forth early in your administration?
Yes, we actually are having a special call meeting Monday to go ahead and have a vote in fiscal court for her, and as well, we're going to go ahead and approve our bond. You know, I have to have an surety bond. So, how
challenging is it going to be to lead a county that is so fast growing that about half the population lives in the cities of Richmond and Berea, and they're growing, and about half live outside the cities, but yet people, no matter where they are expecting upgraded and urban-like services?
Right. That's one of the things that I ran on, and I'll take that question and put it into community. one of my points on my campaign trail was being one community, coming together and working together. I feel like in the past that's kind of been a challenge that has never really happened. You know, really sitting around a table with Mayor Barnes, Mayor Conley, President Roloff, Berea College, President Benson, East Kentucky University, and myself. So excited about the opportunity just to sit around a table and just brainstorm. Where are we going? Where have we been? What do we need to do? Set goals sort of together to benefit the greater good of Madison County.
And you emphasize change in your campaign. What would you like to see change as far as the climate or as far as any specific goals that you might have over the next year and 4 years that you'll be serving?
We definitely have to get a group of people together to really encourage economic development. You know, we're fortunate to have the federal government in Madison County with the Bluegrass Army Depot. And of course the demilitarization is going on right now, and it is expected to be done somewhere 2022, 2023, and so there's a lot of jobs out there that we need to try to keep those jobs here in some way, and we have to start working now as a group. I hope to be that leader that sort of brings Berea and Richmond together, because it doesn't matter if a industry comes to Berea, it doesn't matter if it comes to Richmond, it benefits us all. And I really want us to come together as a team to encourage us working together.
Well, you're adjacent to the merged Lexington-Fayette urban county government. Madison County has a merged school system. There's a countywide EMS system, a 911 center that's shared among the county and the two cities. Are there other ways that taxpayers could get a better benefit with other merged services?
Absolutely. You know, of course, we have merged on the 911 now. You know, we used to have Berea had a 911, Richmond did, Madison County did, State Police did, and so you had all these different 911s, but they have all come together now, especially when CSEP came through with the Army Depot of getting rid of the gases and the bombshells and that kind of thing. So, but there are others. I'm excited about trying to bring some of those things together that'll benefit the county and the taxpayers.
You mentioned the Bluegrass Army Depot constructing a plant to finally rid Madison County of, and really the whole Bluegrass region, of these tons of nerve agent that are stored there. How closely will you monitor their disposal efforts, and how confident are you that you would know what to do and respond if there was some kind of emergency?
I feel very good about the team that is there to make sure that things are safe. Carl Richards is doing a great job with CSEP. He's our EMA director and is in charge of CSEP. Craig Williams is sort of the liaison of a big entity. I went to a...
he held their feet to the fire back in the 80s and 90s.
That's right.
Yeah.
I went to the community meeting and was amazed of the group of people that are sitting around this table having this community meeting about what's going on, where the project is to this point. Have a great friend that works for the Parsons side of Bechtel Parsons, and there's a lot of very intelligent people there. A lot of people have already been through this process in it's Alabama. I can't remember the city, but you know that a lot of people have moved here.
Anniston area.
Anniston, yeah. That's exactly right. And so I feel really confident in the process where they're at. They feel like they're a little ahead of schedule. It's always a good sign. And can't wait to really learn a little bit more about it.
Judge Clark was always pretty candid about if there were an emergency, that while there are all kinds of plans in place, he still had concerns about how Madison County would respond if there had to be an evacuation at some point. Have you thought about that?
I have. I think any time that you have that, I'll use a school, elementary school, we always had fire drills, right? So you practice what you would do. In this situation, it's hard to get 100,000 people to go out and say, hey, there's a siren that goes off and we're all going to practice. So there is a little bit of concern there of what would happen if that did happen. The technology we have is outstanding, you know, and I'm learning more and more about it every day. There's radios. People have these radios in their homes. So I do feel like that it wouldn't be total chaos.
As you begin your duties and are now the Madison County Judge Executive, how do you ensure that, as you said, that there is continued growth, which you think is important, that it's a center of higher education, that it is also part of a larger bluegrass region that maintains its own identity?
I'm very excited about the Madison County Airport. I think the Madison County Airport is key to a lot of those things that you just talked about. As time goes on, things change. Technology, transportation, those things change. And, you know, used to, corporate people might get in a car and drive, but now they fly. I think our Madison County Airport can be a key to economic development, to bringing better jobs in here. Qualified people then move here. Not only blue collar, but white collar work as well.
Do you support the construction of a road from I-75 over the Kentucky River to Nicholasville?
I do, if it's the right path. And the people that it's going to affect, you know, are taken care of. You know, we do as Judge Executive. I have to protect what Madison County wants and what the people want. I'm excited about the opportunities that the road might bring. As a county government, I will do my best to have the right developments on that road. I think it's the long-term planning. The road is great. How do we protect the land? How do we develop those properties to best benefit Madison County?
All right. New Judge Executive in Madison County, Reagan Taylor, with us. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate you very much. Appreciate you asking.
And we hope you'll stay with us here. We'll be back on Kentucky Newsmakers with the outgoing Vice Mayor of Lexington, Linda Gordon. What's ahead for her? What does she think about Lexington's future? Coming up on WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers. And welcome back to Kentucky Newsmakers. So good to have you along with us. She was a career nurse who decided to run for her district council seat back in 1998. In the 16 years since that, Linda Gordon was elected to a county-wide at-large seat and eventually became vice mayor. Now Gordon has decided the time has come to turn the page again. She's joining us today to talk about her own future and about her best hopes for Lexington. Vice Mayor, thanks for coming. We appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
An interesting story you were just telling me about how you got to Lexington in the first place, and it was kind of an act of rebellion, huh?
A tiny act of rebellion. It was in the 60s, and a lot of my family had gone to Ohio State, and I lived half an hour from Ohio State, so I rebelled and came to Kentucky to the College of Nursing.
Right, and so you've worked as a nurse in the community and various offices and at the UK hospital for a time. Go back and tell us why you ran for the council in 1998, a time that seems like just yesterday in some ways, but another era ago in others.
Yes. Well, it was kind of really a naive decision, I have to say, because I knew nothing about politics, had never been involved, but I thought I could do a good job. You know, I enjoyed people, working with people, and solving problems, and it was just purely that. I thought it would be a good fit for me, and I'd enjoy it.
Do you think it's important that everyday citizens get involved in government and local issues?
I do. I'm a pretty everyday citizen, raised in a small community, big family, and I think everyday citizens are really not more, but they're tuned into the needs of the common person, you know, their neighbors, the people they see on a day-to-day basis. And It's been really good that way because I just come from everyday background, you know.
How does the everyday citizen, legislator, or in your case, city council member, get along with those folks that are, you know, more ambitious and see themselves as future mayors and maybe more and that kind of thing?
Well, it's a good challenge. You know, there's a lot of egos in politics, and particularly with the people who do seek or aspire to higher office. You know, as a nurse, I learned and was trained to deal with all kinds of people. And I think that really helped me because, you know, nothing ever intimidated me as far as a person. And their approach is just, there's some different ones out there who really, you know, had different goals and different ways of going about it than I do.
Did you use that training and background as a nurse as a sort of your approach to city council matters?
I suppose I did. You know, nurses are trained pretty intensely. It was just in me, you know. I didn't on purpose use it, but I suspect a lot of my nursing skills came in handy. Listening is something that nurses are trained to do. And I think in politics, it's just critical that you listen to people and really hear what they're saying. So I probably did.
What was the most important accomplishment of the council in the years that you served, those 16 years you were on council?
I would say there are a couple that are right at the top for me, and I would say the smoking ordinance. We had that first comprehensive one right here in the heart of tobacco country, and it made nationwide news.
Was it scary to do that at the time?
It was scary. It was a leap that no one had taken in Kentucky, and but we did our homework. You know, there was a lot of work that came before that. That and the fairness ordinance, those really set the tone for Lexington. We said, you know, we're going to be a more healthy community, and we're going to be a community that welcomes everybody. Those were pretty big. They're what I call foundational legislation. And it's interesting when you get in office, everybody thinks that they're doing the most important thing that's ever been done in the city. You know, there's never been anything before we came, right? But if you look back in our history, there are many really important things like that.
Is it hard to balance the pressure in this community to grow as the city wants to grow and continue to welcome people to the community, and also the desire to protect history and the horse farms and what we know as the precious bluegrass region?
Yes, it is always a tension, and there's always this tension to grow, but tension to protect and preserve. And of course, I was on the council when we passed the Rural Land Management Plan and the Purchase of Development Rights Program. And those are also pretty foundational. They guide what we do in our agriculture area. So it is a balance. You know, I really, Lexington, some people don't realize we have a beautiful, I think of it as a puzzle. And the pieces are so important. Agriculture is one of those pieces. And yet growth is important. A city can't just stagnate and stay the same always with the same number of people. It's usually not healthy. So, but it's a constant tension, and I think it always will be.
During your time on council, you worked with 4 different mayors, Pam Miller, Teresa Isaac, Jim Newberry, and Jim Gray.
Yes.
Were they all different?
Oh, yes. They're all very different, very different. And Pam was the first mayor, and she was a huge communicator. We always knew, pretty much, we being council members, where she stood because she called us all the time. You know, this was before a lot of email was being sent. Mm-hmm. I was on the council for 4 or 5 years when email was kind of a new thing. And Pam would call and say, I've got this idea. I kind of want to know how you look at it or where you would stand. We always were kept in the loop. And so I began with that kind of a mayor, mm-hmm. which was really good.
Then Teresa Isaac.
Teresa's her own person. You know, that was the combination of mayor and vice mayor, those 4 years, as many people will remember, could be very volatile. And we never knew when something would, you know, blow up.
Mike Scanlon was the vice mayor.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Teresa, you know, Teresa is a very friendly person. I think she always had the heart of the community in her best interest. But it was a pretty tumultuous time. And so that combination was very interesting.
2006, Jim Newberry is elected
Yes.
mayor. Jim Gray is elected vice mayor.
Interesting, huh?
It was an interesting setup. Was that an interesting time?
It was. You know, Jim Newberry is a very thoughtful person. And I believe and of course he's a big supporter of the agriculture industry, grew up in FFA, Future Farmers of
Right.
America, and always had the ag industry at heart. And we had a lot of, those were the times when we were starting to get our pension problems to the forefront. We were starting to see healthcare costs just skyrocket. So every administration has had challenges like that.
And Jim Gray as mayor.
Jim's a big thinker. You know, he sees the big picture, and he and I have enjoyed working together as mayor and vice mayor. Although I will say I'm a big believer in the separation of powers and that tension that should be there all the time between the legislative body and the administrative.
Is the balance about right?
It's about right. I think there's a problem when the legislature always just automatically goes along with the administration and vice versa.
Vice Mayor Linda Gorton is with us here on Kentucky Newsmakers. Our remaining moments coming right up. We're going to ask her what she thinks she's leaving undone as she leaves City Hall after all these years. Back in just a moment. Welcome back to Kentucky Newsmakers on WKYT. She gets to add another letter, another word to her title. Former Vice Mayor Linda Gorton is with us here on Kentucky Newsmakers. How does that sound to you?
Well, you know, I love my job, so it's a little sad, I have to tell you. I love my job, and some people say, why are you leaving? Well, I've got a lot of good reasons to leave.
Do you leave with any regrets? Are there things you have not accomplished?
I don't leave with any regrets because I've worked on lots and lots of important issues and legislation. One thing I wanted to work on and I didn't get to, just time-wise, was I think, and this is not a huge deal, but I think it's time for Lexington and Fayette County to have an agriculture commission. Agriculture is a huge part of our economy. And so I would have liked to have gotten that going, you know, but there are council members interested, so maybe that will get done.
What are your best hopes for Lexington in the years ahead?
Well, Lexington, you know, we've fixed a lot of our financial situations, which have taken down a lot of other cities. We're in good financial shape that way. We need to keep it that way. We need to be fiscally responsible because the second you let go, then you're done. We need to keep working on quality of life issues. People in the neighborhoods, you know, they want to be able to go to a park that's safe. They want to be able to drive roads that are smooth. They want to be, it's kind of basic things. They want crime to be low. I mean, those are the things that bring people to a new community. And of course, education, you know. But we're not, you know, we don't have a direct impact on education. We have the quality of life impact.
Do you think eventually Rupp Arena will be upgraded, that there will be this maybe arena district that the mayor envisions?
I think that it might be in a different form. My take on it is that the most important thing that we do is upgrade the convention center. You know, Rupp Arena is one of the top arenas in the country, and it's packed every game. Of course, that has a lot to do with the team and the coach and all of that, but people love Rupp Arena. There are a few things we could do to make it better. you know, the cell phone service, the TV screens and all that. But I think the important part is, for economic development, is the convention center and then that flat parking lot across the street, which I think could be a wonderful development of some kind.
What is next for you? You said you have some writing to do,
Yes.
and then you're not exactly sure, are you?
Well, of course, none of us really know, right, what tomorrow will bring. I want to try my hand at writing, and I have now, in May, I will have my 4th grandbaby in 2 years.
All right, congratulations.
And both my children are military families, so they live far away, and I want to be able to go visit them and not worry about council responsibilities. I took my responsibilities seriously.
Nobody seems to believe that you're retiring,
No,
though.
they don't.
Might you run for something else?
It's not on the plan right now. Although I've loved what I've been doing. So you never know. Life is just so uncertain, and you come up upon something, and I mean, look at Crit Llewellyn.
Right.
She's now back in office. But it's not on my plan.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. Good
Thank
luck
you for having
with
me.
whatever the path takes you down.
Thank you.
Former Lexington Vice Mayor Linda Gordon, thank you for joining us for this edition of Kentucky Newsmakers. We'll see you bright and early on WKYT this morning. We start at 4:30, and of course on mid-morning at 10, and WKYT News at noon. Make it a good week ahead.